Okay, hello, welcome. I just wanted to do a quick video about a product that I used. I've only published one book, but I've done others with it, just not my own, called Vellum. And as it says there on the screen, which hopefully you can see, it says create beautiful books. Now, what I think they mean by that is how the book pages look and the fonts and the formatting and all that. Not that it's going to help you write a beautiful book. That's on you. But this is a program, an app, I guess they call them nowadays, that's available only for a Mac or a MacBook, not an iPad, not an iPhone even, just Mac and MacBooks. And I'm not sure, maybe a Mac Mini, anything that's a Mac, but not iOS. As it says here, it's got Mac OS 10.15 or newer, which I think is, I got a code name of Catalina, so you have to be on Catalina or later. And I wanted to point out this download button here, because that means if you have a Mac, you can get this for free and write your book in it even, and get it ready to be published in all these places they mention here. Mostly it's geared towards Amazon, but that's just because they're the current largest thing out there. But that might change, who knows. And they babble on about all the things you can do. But I wanted to keep this short and sweet because this tends to be like, I don't know, I can't think of a tool that you use rarely. And then you have to come back to it and kind of figure out what you did before. So I'm trying to make the first one as simple as possible. And I would ignore the price for now, but it's about $250 to do both ebooks and paperback books, which if you look around, you can easily pay that just for one book. This lets you do as many as you want. But again, you can download it and use it right up until the point where you want to generate either an ebook or a paperback book. That's free. So that's that page. Now let's see. Back to my tutorial here. On the right-hand side of the screen, you might be able to see my notes over here. And I'm telling myself to mention that Vellum has a tutorial, and there's the link, which I'll put in the description. And here is that tutorial. And there's this, it's like it's missing a few steps, or it's just too easy maybe. But you can go get some sample documents to play with, like H.G. Wells' novella called The Invisible Man. And there's an image there, so you can get to see how you would lay out an ebook at least. And it is a .docx file, which it has to be. So they provide that, as I'm saying over here. They provide you with that. It's the invisible. It's a good place to start. I went through this. And you end up seeing kind of what's involved and what the screen is all about. And, you know, it goes on and on. So you would definitely want to do that. But I wanted to keep this even simpler than what they have there, although I'm kind of following that. So now for my book, or your book, as the case may be, let me minimize this. You will have downloaded it. And it'll be down here if this shows up. It's always whatever that flower is, an orchid on a purple background. So that's called Vellum. So when we tap it or click on it, this comes up. I'm currently at 3.4.2. That doesn't matter really. They keep adding stuff. But somewhere, some way, you have created yourself a .docx file, either using Word, most likely, Pages, or even Google Docs can do it. So you got choices. You got a lot more than that, actually, but I won't go into all that right here, right now. So you got this file, whatever it's called, .docx. So let's import it because they have it right here. This column over here in this little box is previous books I've done. So let's do import Word file. And then you got to go find it. And here's the one I want to do from someday maybe a book called A Darker Roast. So we would highlight it and then do the import. And right away, I guess I can make these a bit bigger. Let's see. I think I can. There we go. So now hopefully you can see that better. And I'll try to wiggle around over here. Over here is what they call the navigator, the left-hand panel window. In the middle is what they call the text editor. That's where you can make changes and do some extra formatting. And then for some reason, this one's super big. Let's make that different. There we go. And then over here, you kind of get to see what your book will look like on different devices. There's a little drop down here. So you see Kindle, Fire, Paperwhite. Let's do that. Turns that dark. Remember those days? If you had a Paperwhite. I mostly read on an iPad because I like how you can control everything on it about the Kindle app. I've never used Nook. I've never used Kobo. I've never used Google Play. But I'm sure they work fine because it lets you look at it, how it's going to look. And the last one here they call print. But what really comes out of this when you get a license to generate is a PDF file, which is ready to be put anywhere with a book cover and get printed. And I've gone through all of these processes. I've done the ebook for Kindle, and I've done print books through Amazon. KDP it's called. So let's see. And we talked about downloading it, item 4 over here. And then it's free to use until you want to actually generate something and put it and publish it somewhere. So we went through importing the docx file. Then we noticed the 3 panels, navigator, text editor, and live preview, this one's called. Notice now we should be noticing that when it brought in the docx, by default you get whatever this section's called up here. I think it's front matter, the title page, the cover could be here. You could put a cover there. I guess it's not the title page. I guess it's just information that gets put on the first page. Then there's a title page. Maybe that is how it gets there. Then it will automatically generate a table of contents, and you can see it over here in this right pane. Let me go back to something that's normal, like a fire. And those are clickable even here in this pretend device. And then there's your chapters all numbered, ready to roll. And you could add, all sorts of stuff in here, but we're not going to do that because we're trying to focus on how to get it started and going right away. Because you can get away, if you just follow this, with having a book ready to go in under 15 minutes if you've already written it and edited it and all that stuff you're supposed to do. So we covered the live preview. Now ensure your chapters and text are okay. Let's pretend we did that. And we added front matter because they have some front matter up there already. We'd probably want to add there's a little gear down here. By clicking this, you can do add element, and we would probably want to add a copyright page, which it would put in there. Let's put one in there. And you get a default with some words you probably want to add to that. What else can we add? We could have a dedication. It already has table of contents. Now, at the end, and I think it puts it there automatically. Yep, it does. We can have about the author. And it put in some blurb from who knows where. Slip the Trap is emerging author of steampunk fantasy, which is not true. This is Slip's 8th book, which is also not true. But you can have whatever you want in there, maybe a picture even, because you can do images in this thing. Then you can have all your social media links, which work in the ebook, of course, not in the print book. You can have YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, all that, Patreon, Goodreads. You can add all that in there. So that's cool. So now we just covered adding front matter and back matter to your book. Other than those 2 changes for a final book, you don't have to do anything else. That's it. So now if you purchased a license, pricey, yes, you can generate a book. In other words, right now, I could go up here because I purchased a license, And I could click generate, and it's going to ask me to save it somewhere first. I don't really want to do that because I already have one. But it gives you a choice of ways to generate an ebook: Kindle, Apple, Nook, Kobo, Google, generic. It gives you print sizes for your print book. And then when we come back, it's got a different name in there because I did one earlier. But you click generate, and you're going to end up with an EPUB, an image for the EPUB cover. You're going to end up with another folder that has a PDF in it. And you would have had to do the paperback cover in another way. I'll stay away from that for this video. And that's it. At that point, as 16 says over here, you're ready to upload your book to Amazon or somewhere. And then 17, wise remark, done. Now go write another book. That's how quickly it can happen. If you've already done all that upfront work somewhere, somehow, and got a docx file. So I've got some pros listed here I thought about. And as you just saw, just the default styling that comes with vellum looks fine to me. There's a lot of books on Amazon that don't look this good. And that's without doing anything. So I changed nothing. It looks far better. I said that. It seems to me like, and I'm not sure this is true or not, but it seems like vellum was done by programmers that are also writers and authors of books. A lot of programmers do write books, so that might be how this came to fruition. And their default settings work perfectly, I think. I mean, of course, you can go in here and do a lot of customization. Come up with your own styles, put in your own images. You can just change it to look however you want it to look. So now, one of the pros at the end here, Smartsy again, you get to be a control freak. In other words, you're now a fully fledged self-publisher. So you write the book, you format the book, you decide where to sell the book. It's all on you, and the world is your oyster, so to speak. Now, what are the cons of this? You probably spotted one right away, that supposedly, and that's true, the application itself, Vellum, only runs on an Apple Mac and a MacBook, not a PC, not an iPad, not an iPhone. And yes, the next one, yes, Vellum is expensive. But that expensive part kind of depends on your perspective. But maybe it's not expensive to you if you're an author who writes and self-publishes books. Because now you're not having to pay somebody else to do all of this and wait around and communicate back and forth. You can just get in, get it in there, get it up there, get it out there, and start promo marketing or whatever you want to do with it. Tell your friends, your mom, whatever it is. And it's not extra expensive if you already have a Mac or a MacBook. The money you save by not buying Word can pay for Vellum because they're a similar price. I think Word is less. But you can also use Pages or Google Docs to create. So there's a phrase. That's not a big deal. And all of this needs to be able to export a docx file, which they do. Now, there are some designers out there, which I guess I should minimize this and maximize that. Hold on. There are some designers, like this one, which comes recommended, called Champagne Book Design. And this is typical pricing as we scroll through there. I'll also link to this. And I think right here is the common price you get quoted, or a little bit more. So you can get an ebook and a paperback book for $150. You do two of those, that's $300. That's more than Vellum. But you're still saying, well, I have a PC. Yeah, that's true. But there's a way around that too. And there's even a description and how to do it, kind of, sort of, in the Vellum help. It's called Using Vellum on Windows. Basically, what you end up doing is you kind of rent a Mac in the cloud. either by the hour or by the day, or if you do this a lot, I guess every month. But if I was stuck on a PC, I would waste probably a few days at $4 a day just to figure out Vellum. After that, there's nothing to figure out. You just come back, and in way less than an hour, you could get your docx uploaded. You could press the generate button, make a few changes, press the generate button, you're out of there. And they have it already installed. I think all you have to do is put in your license, and it looks pretty straightforward to do from a PC. So they have all that there. So that's still a possibility even for PC people. So let's see, where do I want to end? I guess I'll end back here. And hopefully this wasn't too long. It's longer than I thought it would be. But I will go ahead and end this, and I might be back with a bit more about the things you can do in each of the 3 panes, or some other tips about images. I might be back for that because I'm likely to forget that kind of stuff. I might remember this simpler stuff because I've done a few books. But if you've never done one, this is a good way to start. And their tutorial is good also. So with that, I will say peace. And thank you for watching. Peace again.